Too often these days, Australians living outside the major cities are completely ignored and treated like they don't matter by governments and businesses alike. That's exactly what's happening right now in regional Victoria. The Australian energy market operator has been telling farmers to take $10,000 to sign over land access rights to AEMO for a 400-kilometre power line project, and warned that the alternative was workers forcibly coming onto the land anyway, whether they like it or not. Except AEMO doesn't have that right. Farmer Gerald Feeney told the Herald Sun, quote, "We had no idea this was coming. You'd honestly think if you were doing a major infrastructure project that's worth billions of dollars, you would have had the landholders and even the municipalities on board from the very first day," close quote. Joining me now is Emma Germano from the Victorian Farmers Federation. Emma, welcome. What are you hearing from your members about what AEMO is up to?
Yeah, good evening, Amanda. Huge amount of concern out there on farming properties across Victoria, not just the ones that are potentially underneath the VNI West transmission line or proposed transmission line. We've also got the Western Renewables link where we've got farmers who are very concerned. There's been a long build-up, I suppose, and what we've seen is this lack of genuine consultation with the landholders who are ultimately going to be hosting this public infrastructure on behalf of the community, and the disingenuous, I suppose, attempt at consulting with communities, and not just from AEMO. We're really saying that this is the state government's responsibility, and of course the state government's also trying to fit in with the renewable energy targets of the federal government. So I guess if this is where these lines need to go on agricultural land, you probably should be speaking with the agriculturalists and the farmers as a first port of call.
Yes, and those farmers shouldn't feel pushed around or left out in the cold. There should be a genuine process of taking them on the journey. Doesn't sound like that's been happening on the ground.
I guess we've got this kind of conflict at the moment where we're talking about energy security for Australians into the future, but what we're failing to recognise or failing to acknowledge is we need to have food security also. So it's really important that we acknowledge the importance and the significance of agricultural land to the Australian community. It's not just about food security, it's about national security. And we're saying this is a once in a generation opportunity to get this infrastructure right. And it has to be taken into consideration that we're not vacant land. We have farms, we have businesses, we have livelihoods sitting underneath what are going to be proposed transmission towers and transmission lines, and that needs to be taken into consideration. We're saying you have to know the land that you're working across, and it's not just a problem in Victoria. My colleagues down in Tasmania are having the same issues in that state. We know that there's issues in New South Wales. We know there's issues in Queensland. We have to plan this, otherwise we are going to fail. And the number one thing here is these renewable targets. And ultimately, if we continue to see this level of pushback from the community, I do say that they will miss those targets in regards to how long it's going to take to get them built.
Emma Germano, thank you so much for updating us